Okay, thank you for joining us. Please sign in if you have not already done so. My name is Robert McCaw. I'm the National Director of Government Affairs at CAIR, and I'll be serving the role of MC for today's press conference. Today, the Council on American Islamic Relations, the nation's largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization, is holding a press conference at its Capitol headquarters in Washington, D.C., to announce its new constitutional challenge to the federal government's watch list system, including the TSA's recently revealed Quiet Skies program. The Michigan and Florida chapters of the Council on American Islamic Relations are also holding press conferences today, as they are co-counsels in this lawsuit. The Washington chapter of CAIR is also a co-counsel. We will first hear from our speakers, CAIR staff, and plaintiffs, and then we'll open it up to a Q&A, followed by one-on-one media availability. I'm joined on this stage by CAIR National Director Nihad Awad, CAIR National Litigation Director Lina Masri, Imam Johari Abdul Malik, who is a plaintiff in our case, and Mohammed Abdawi, who is also a plaintiff. We'll first hear from CAIR National Executive Director Nihad Awad.
Thank you, Robert, and good morning, everyone. First, let me just start by recognizing the historic victory of Democrat Rashida Tlaib and congratulate her for becoming the first ever Muslim woman elected to Congress after winning last night's Democratic primary to represent Michigan's 13th district. This is a very important landmark victory, not only for her, but for our community and for many young people who feel marginalized, especially under the racist Trump era. Rashida Tlaib is the daughter of two Palestinian immigrants, a native from Detroit. She is the embodiment of the American dream. Her victory, once again, reminds American Muslims that they can achieve everything they want in this country. More than 90 Muslims are running for public office at the local, state, and national level, including Deidre Aboud in Arizona, Ilhan Omar in Minnesota, who's seeking to replace outgoing Congressman Keith Ellison, the first Muslim ever elected to Congress. And that's worth noting because this is what American Muslims are. They are contributors. They are our nation's doctors, engineers, nurses, business owners, school teachers, law enforcement, taxi drivers, and members of our armed forces. Muslims are not a threat to this country or to national security. They are our neighbors, and they don't deserve to be treated differently, yet they are. Muslim Americans are profiled in airports, at border crossings, harassed and watch-listed, and they have no due process to challenge being on the watch list. Unfortunately, American Muslims feel that they are treated as second-class citizens. This lawsuit today will change this. CAIR seeks to end treating Muslims as second-class citizens in airports. I would like to thank our legal team, headed by Lina Masri and Gadir Abbas, for preparing this very important and historic lawsuit to challenge the practice of the federal government in treating Muslims as second-class citizens and as suspects in many parts in our society. And also I would like to thank and applaud the courage of people who came forward, who feel treated and humiliated by our nation's top law enforcement and national security agencies. They have the courage to challenge this by coming forward and be part of this lawsuit. I thank them, and I thank our religious leaders who feel also mistreated by law enforcement agencies because of their activism. Some of them are part of this lawsuit, and some of them feel that they are still being watch listed by the government. And I thank them for speaking out against this practice. And I wish that we are going to succeed in this lawsuit because it has to send a very clear message to our young children that they are Americans and they should be treated as such. And when they are mistreated, there are organizations like CAIR are willing to step forward to defend their constitutional rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Nihad. Next speaking is CAIR National Litigation Director Lina Masri. Lina.
Thank you. This morning, we filed the broadest ever challenge to the watchlisting system in the United States District Court for the District of Maryland on behalf of 20 individuals that are broadly representative of the many ways in which innocent American Muslims have been impacted by the watchlisting system. Our lawsuit includes several children, 2 that have been forcibly separated from their father, due to their father no longer being able to travel to the United States to spend time with them as a result of being added to the watch list. We filed on behalf of 2 children that have been treated like known or suspected terrorists for traveling with a parent who happens to be on the watch list. We filed on behalf of a husband that was forcibly separated from his wife for years. Her immigration application was delayed due to his status on the watch list. We filed on behalf of American Muslims who lost their jobs, on behalf of religious leaders, on behalf of family members, all of whom have been treated like known or suspected terrorists. However, they themselves are not on the watch list. Their only crime is being Muslim. Simply put, the federal government has created a secret system that has relegated tens of thousands of American Muslims to second-class citizenship, and our plaintiffs are among those thousands. The watchlisting system is based on automated rules and algorithms, as well as meaningless standards that end up targeting innocent American Muslims based on activities that Muslims are likely to engage in. Speaking Arabic, for example, can lead to someone being added to the watch list. Traveling to Muslim-majority countries, performing Hajj, the religious pilgrimage that is performed by Muslims, donating to Muslim charities. All of these things are automatic triggers that lead to American Muslims to be targeted by the watchlisting system. Through the Quiet Skies program, federal air marshals and plainclothes TSA officers have been monitoring and investigating American Muslims, including some of our plaintiffs. And they're monitoring things like their bathroom usage, wardrobe changes, meals, conversations, whether they sleep on their flights, and reactions when they realize they're being stalked. And based on these types of observations, these passengers are being designated as known or suspected terrorists on the watch list. Those who end up being targeted by the watchlisting system, oftentimes their lives are destroyed. Parents are separated from their children, spouses from each other, jobs are lost, reputations are ruined, religious practices are made onerous and impossible. And the basic freedom to move about the country and the world is constrained. And those who communicate with someone who ended up in the secret watchlisting system can also end up being added themselves and their lives impacted as well. And it is in this way that the federal government has been successful in targeting the American Muslim community. The watchlisting system has become commonplace within the American Muslim community. We're confident that the federal court in this lawsuit will see the watchlisting system for what it is and declare it unconstitutional. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. Next speaking is Imam Johari Abdul Malik, a plaintiff. Oh, not a plaintiff.
Please add me as a plaintiff. My name is Imam Johari Abdul Malik. I am AMJOHARI ABDUL-MALIK. I just want to share very briefly that probably as an African American, I spent most of my life on some kind of watch list. But then the consequences of an Islamophobic environment said that not only is it dangerous for me to drive while black, but also to fly while Muslim. I'll give you an example. I was traveling with my 90-year-old father coming back from Barbados. We were stopped in Puerto Rico, and the FBI took me into custody to ask me questions. And my father is saying, why are they stopping us? Why are they, because 90-year-old people get agitated. I said, Dad, they're only stopping me because I'm Muslim. And they're going to ask me some questions, and it's not going to be relevant to anything that's going on. We just came back from vacation, and then they're going to let me go after a while. We're going to miss our flight, and we'll get something to eat. Coming back from my 20th anniversary cruise, we came back into the port of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and they announced over the overhead that the ship has been turned over to Homeland Security. My wife said we should pack our bag. I said, oh, you're overreacting. She said, they're coming to get us. I said, it's probably just what they traditionally do when the ship comes to port. A few minutes later, my wife and I were escorted out. This is how we returned from our 20th wedding anniversary. And I survived it. We almost had 30 years, but we're not taking a cruise. How did you feel as a Muslim in America? You come home from your summer vacation with your children. And as you are approaching the place where they ask you the immigration questions, you've got your flip-flops on, but your children and my children know that this might not be a holiday, that their father's going to be separated from them, and they're going to have to sit somewhere and wait for God knows how long before finally I'll be released. This isn't just me. This is many Muslim leaders, and you'll hear from some of them, but also regular families who don't have anything to do with anything other than trying to live a normal life. I have come home from Hajj with my congregation on the airplane, and we're so proud and so excited, only to hear that the leader of your community is going to be pulled off of the plane, and people will be whispering, why is he doing that? For nothing. Fareed Zakaria said that this assault on American civil rights and civil liberties in the name of liberty, safety, security is like finding a needle in a haystack by adding more hay. It doesn't make us any safer. It defames our Constitution, and it disrespects the religious freedom that we're guaranteed by our Constitution. So I'm going to say to you now, it's time for America to hold itself up to the standard of its Constitution. We call upon the federal courts to uphold the rule of law, and we believe in the great work of CAIR, and we thank CAIR for its leadership, and to say now, watch list, watch this.
Thank you very much, Imam. Next speaking is Mohammed Al-Badawi, who is a plaintiff in this case. Thank you for joining us.
My name is Mohammed Al-Badawi, M-O-H-A-M-A-D. My last name A-L-B-A-D-A-W-I. I thank CAIR for taking care of, I think this is a major step for Muslim community in America. And we are fighting to take our right back. I have been in the watch list for about 8 years. For every single week, I have to go through suffering. I give you some pictures, see how many security they stop at the gate. I have to go to the airport 2 hours or 3 hours in advance. And they have to call. After like 1 hour, they get an approval for 4 S's. Then I go to the security point. And when they put my boarding pass, it's flag red. They call supervisor. Supervisor, he will call them. He says, Mr. Badawi, now at our point. Then I have to go through 2 machines, not 1 machine. And then they have to pat me down again. Then at the gate, minimum 6 to 8 security, they want to search me again. What's sometimes funny is I'm connecting flight. I'm traveling from Kansas City to Chicago, New York. I don't change gate. Sometimes they ask me to go outside of the security and go through the machine 1 more time. It's very, very stressful, very humiliating. Even my family, most of my family now, they don't want to fly with my same flight. Because if I book flight for them, they will have 4 S's. What's joking is, my wedding for my daughter wedding in Chicago, 26th of this month, a lot of people coming from Kansas City, everybody called me, please tell us which flight you are going, we don't want to go with you. That's what's happening. And let's give you the last experience. I was coming from Turkey. I connected in Amsterdam. They spent 2.5 hours. They could not bring my boarding pass. They said, sorry, you cannot fly today. They booked me for next day. And next day I arrived at U.S. Custom waiting for me. I spent with them about 2 hours. I missed my flight to Kansas City. He said, don't worry, we'll pick you up. He booked me a flight after 3 hours. When I was at the gate to enter the airplane, they said, oh, they forgot to put stamp on your boarding pass. You have to go out of the security again and go through one more time, and we'll book you after 4 hours. It takes me from Istanbul to Kansas City almost 47 hours. I have been suffering for about 8 years, and sometimes they treat you like a tourist. I missed many flights because sometimes, especially I'm talking about especially Kansas City, it's the worst airport. I want to make it public. Sometimes it takes them for my bag 45 minutes to 1 hour just to search it. They pick up the one pin and take to the machine. And then one more piece, they go to the machine. And the airplane waiting for me. I missed my flight, I started joking. They are just laughing. They don't say, we don't care. Even if flight gone, we don't care about it. So I really appreciate your CAIR work, hard work. I know it's going to be a very strong case, but we're going to fight for right, and thank you very much.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to conclude today's press conference. A few of our speakers are available for one-on-one afterwards. Thank you.